Here is, I guess, kind of part 2 on aphids are kind of stupid. So, a couple weeks ago, I made a video on aphids about how they're kind of just really dumb, and funnily enough, I was wearing the same hoodie that I'm wearing now, and I promise it's a different day. That was like 2 weeks ago. Anyway, aphids are really dumb, part 2. So, I talked before about how aphids are just kind of dumb. If they're being eaten, they will just kind of sit there and be like, damn. But aphids do secrete this thing called alarm pheromones. So if there is an aphid that is actively being eaten by something else, it will secrete these pheromones. Attack pheromones basically just signal, hey, there's a problem. I am being harmed. I am letting you know so you also don't get harmed by this thing. In theory, that is a great idea. So, aphids, when they sense these, alarm pheromones, they have a couple options. One of the options is they will sense these pheromones and they will just walk a couple steps away from where they sense the stimulus. Be like, okay, yeah, this is far enough. Which generally works okay in the case of predators that aren't very mobile, like the larvae of hoverflies and ladybugs and all that, where they basically have no legs and no eyes and they just kind of inch along until they bump into something that they want to eat. In which case, yeah, that's chill. You just stay a couple steps ahead of the larva, and that's usually fine. However, in more active predators, like adult ladybugs or wasps or something, that's not really your best option. So kind of another strategy they have is they just let go of the leaf that they're on and they just fall. So if they sense an alarm pheromone, they're like, ah shit, one of my buddies just got eaten, I'm out, and they will just detach themselves from the leaf and plummet to the ground, or until they land on something else. Which is, it's a strategy. It does work because aphids are so light that terminal velocity is not really harmful for them. They don't get falling fast enough to take any significant damage from falling as far as however far they fall after letting go. So it is a strategy. They do have to eventually climb back up in order to get food, but it does work. The third strategy, and the worst objectively strategy, is they just don't do anything. They sense these alarm pheromones, and they're just like, oh man, that sucks. And they just stand there until whatever ate their buddy comes along and eats them too, because they're just like, oh well, sucks to suck. I guess this is how it ends. Which, honestly, same, but also why? But other aphids aren't the only things that can sense these aphid alarm pheromones. As I touched on before in my first Aphids Are Stupid video, some ants actually farm aphids in order to drink their sugary secretions. That's a whole thing, go check that out. But essentially, these ants, they like their aphid livestock, and so when something is going up and eating them, they don't really want that. So if the ants detect the aphid alarm pheromones, they're like, ah shit, my fucking cow, and then they go and they try to attack whatever is eating their aphids. That's also interestingly linked with ladybug shape and evolution and stuff, because ladybugs like to eat aphids, and ants don't like the ladybugs eating their aphids, so they try to get rid of the ladybug. But due to the shape and the kind of texture of the ladybug, essentially shell, it is very round and very slippery, so it's actually pretty hard for the ants to do anything to the ladybug due to the shape and the thickness and the slipperiness of the outside of the ladybug, which I think is also pretty cool. But yeah, here's aphids are really stupid part 2, because they just keep coming with the facts.